study,
and play come together on a Windows 11 PC.
And for a limited time, college students get
The best of both worlds.
Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
And we're back with me, Jonny McMurray, on the On the Spot football podcast with another fantastic guest. Tonight's guest is one like no other. He's had more clubs than Rory McIlroy, and he's a massive golf enthusiast with NI Golf Club. You'll know who it is. I know who it is. It's my friend, Jonny Frazer. Jonny,
thanks very much for having me. Glad to be here. And great intro as well.
Mate, the intros are good, right? But I'm still thinking about you taking your socks off there. Like, you've just dissed them. I couldn't get that right.
The studio shook to me. I was sweating here, and I just thought I'd take the socks off. I don't know how high the cameras are, because I'm considering taking my shoes off too.
I'm sure this one's probably got you at some stage. Like, I mean, just a big, massive kill.
No, happy to be here, and some setup here that you've got.
Yeah, so good.
Pretty big time now.
Well, this is it. Alan's pretty big time. I just kind of slaughtered
Right,
this.
okay.
But, mate, thank you for coming on. We've had to reschedule a few times, but that's due to you being uber busy and being an adult.
Yeah.
Do you know what
I've got new house, kids. It's not like we can just do what we want anymore. We've got responsibilities. So yeah, look, no, really happy to be here and looking forward for a good chat.
Well, one of the things that I have documented down here, you have like how's life, how's football, golf, babies, and then the list of clubs. And when I say you genuinely have more clubs than me,
that's impressive in itself.
100%, because I've had a lot, but you've definitely beat me there. So we can't probably fit everything into tonight's episode, but we'll fit the main ones in. Because you have a wee brief stint in Australia.
Yeah.
You'd kind of just jumped, went on a plane, split, and then decided to come back.
Got leaving presents and then came back a few weeks later. So
smart. A lot of people do that, but here, hopefully there was money involved.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of pints. Who cares? Good holiday. But listen, thank you very much. Absolute pleasure to come on, have you in here. I've been waiting for it for a long time because we've played together. We had quite a good time together, Crusaders, and we're going to get that. But how did it all get started? Like football, Linfield as a young kid.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So, I think like just always kind of played from young age and was at Green Island. Yeah, boys until I was 16. Really kind of good football upbringing. And signed for Linfield when I was 16, went into their under-17s team. And it kind of was, as has kind of always been the case over my career, I was never ever the most talented, never away on trials, didn't make Milk Cup teams. But over the course of, a few years at Linfield at the 17s and the 19s, I think by process of elimination, other, strikers and players were leaving because they were like, oh, I should be going to play reserve football, or I should be going to play first team football and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, geez, I'm actually one of the only strikers left at my age group. And then it's funny when you look back at football around little moments that actually maybe completely changed the trajectory of how your career went. And I was on the verge of leaving Linfield when I was, I think, 17, wasn't playing, and wasn't good enough to be playing. Like, there was a very good team. And there was a Northern Ireland Youth Cup game, and all the reserve team players dropped down to play in it, and the reserves needed a striker. So Simon McFadden was a manager, and just because I wasn't good enough actually for the 19s Youth Cup team, I could call up the reserves, play a game. I scored, and the reserve manager took a liking to me, and just from then I just, career kind of kicked on. So I ended up started playing reserves every week, and wasn't really in the first team. Warren Feeney was manager, and I think in the January, Warren Point, who were in the Premiership and were struggling, I had an old coach that worked there, and he had said to Barry Gray about me. So I wasn't even training with Linfield first team or anything, and Linfield got a call and asked me to take me on loan.
Yeah.
And, they said, yeah, sure, like, so like he's in the room with our team anyway. And that's kind of when I first kind of got my first exposure to proper Irish League football was when I went on loan. But it's a bit crazy to think back, like, that all snowballed from I was going to leave. I wasn't actually good enough to play in youth cup teams, so I got a chance in reserves. Next thing you know, I've scored a load of goals for reserves, and I'm going on loan to a Premiership team. But I was, still pretty young. I'm pretty sure I was 17. I was 17. So that was great.
I mean,
This episode is brought to you by Ferrero. Soccer's biggest stage is approaching, and Ferrero is making it easy to go all in. Pick any 2 Ferrero brands from Kinder Bueno to Ferrero Rocher, and you could win the $1 million grand prize, plus an exciting range of daily and weekly prizes. Don't miss your shot. Official rules apply. Learn more at goallinandwin.com.
When you look at loan deals now, some people are like quite skeptical of sending kids on loan. Barry Gray was one of those people who happily took. He done it to me probably just the year before he done it to you, because there was a load of us that actually went at the similar times, and he was quite a big advocate for trying to give people potentially minutes. He needed it because he knew that he needed talent in his club. He didn't really care about age. Takes having those old school managers who want to give you a chance instead of worrying about I might get relegated.
Yeah, it's especially Warren Point probably at the time struggling to attract players down to, it wasn't like it's that far away. It was like an hour in the car.
Yeah.
Or if Derry McVeigh's driving, it was half an hour in the car. But yeah, like I think I've been on many loans, as we'll get to, I'm sure. Like I was never really happy to kind of, sit around and not play. I think, to be honest, normally a loan, especially at Linfield, is the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
But like as a player, I hadn't even really been, like I said, at Linfield first team, but it's a chance for you to show them, you're 17 years old, and okay, well, if I'm not going to make it at Linfield, I want to see whenever I'm leaving Linfield next year, I want to go and, put in good performances so that I'm known around the league and I kind of can come a bit established. So like, I think it's the difference as well. I don't know if you found this, but see in my last few years, whenever I was dropping down to play reserve football, come back from injury or just out of favour, I found that the difference in drop down was a huge gulf. So when you think it the other way around, the reserve team players who are 17 are playing reserves every week, then have to jump up to play first team football. Mm-hmm. That gulf is massive. Not to sound like the old head, but I remember when I broke into the reserve team, there's maybe only 3 or 4 17-year-olds playing in front with Peter Thompson every week. Matthew Tipton was always there. Robbie Garrett, Jimmy Callagher played, Kyle McVeigh, Ross Glendenning, Rhys Glendenning. Like these are all like people who have done either already were established players, and then all of a sudden to like these when I was at the Cruise and dropped down. Like I'm the Peter Thompson.
I was there with you.
Yeah, I'm like their stuff. Those kids are stuff that's like weird. So I think that thinking about that, I think you need to have that step of if you're a loan player, you got to go on loan to a championship or a Premiership team to see if you can actually play at that level.
It sets you in massively good stead. Yeah. Like you get to combat with physical adults who are primed and ready to play and compete at the top level. Like I don't understand why the changes came. I understand maybe trying to make the reserve league an under 21s league or whatever and trying to fit into England, but you're not full time. Kids are still part time. They're not developed. Yeah. And being with men, banged around, tackled, learned the game.
Even the like I think back and think I was so wet behind the ears, like, and I went down there and not like Warren Point made me a man, but like, I went down there and I hadn't really been around like a changing room before. And just how people react and laugh and joke. Hadn't really, the reserve team didn't go out for pints after a football match. Mm-hmm. Everybody was down at Canal Court after, you got beat or won with Warren Point. And I think that really, that 6 months, there was a load of real old school players in that Warren Point team. Bagnall, all the Hughes brothers, Johnny Parr, Stevie Moan, Engine, like all these guys who are still playing now.
Literally just went to Newry.
Yeah,
they literally just
go back and forth between
jumped in a new club.
But that was all like I look back at that like really fondly as a time where, it first got me exposure to kind of Irish league football, first exposure to men's football, and was around like a real group of old school lads, which stood me in good stead when I returned to Linfield in the summer to be like, okay, now I'm with the first team, and now I don't need to. That isn't now a surprise to me what the change rooms are like. All change rooms are kind of the same. Yeah. So I found like that loan was so beneficial for me. I'm very grateful to Barry. I still keep in contact with Barry today. I know he's been on the podcast. I still keep in contact with him today because you're really fond of all of them down there. And we ended up staying up actually in a relegation playoff against Bangor. So it was a nice way to kind of end the season as well.
You got one up on me with Warren Point because we got relegated.
Did you get relegated, did you?
Don't want to talk about it because I've probably missed it too many times.
Well,
It's just always sad to hear about it, you know.
I didn't play in the second playoff game was at home. I didn't play, but I got booked. I think there was some kerfuffle on the
What do you mean?
on the sideline. I think I ran on the pitch. I don't know what I'm going to do, like trying to act a hard man. Look, I can't remember exactly, but I remember getting booked and thinking nothing of it. And then fast forward to the start of the next season, I'd done the whole pre-season with Linfield. And Andy Waterworth, he got injured. I think it was the time when he broke his leg playing in the Champions League match. You should get him on and talk about it. I was talking about it. He scored with a broken leg. But he broke his leg or he cracked his shin or something. And Linfield had no strikers. And Thursday night after training, Feeney pulls me in to the thing, goes, "You're starting up front Saturday." Says you and whatever, named the team. And I was like, driving home, ringing my dad. Dad, I was starting for Linfield. Like, I was maybe a team. I started up front for them Saturday. This is amazing. Rings me on Friday. You can't play tomorrow. You're suspended. You got a booking in the last game of the season, and it carries over the next year. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Adam Sally started and said, Adam Sally had a run of like 15 games playing up front for it. So again, that was kind of stupid.
Shows you your moments, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes for you.
Yeah,
sometimes
it's luck.
doesn't.
It's all luck. That's all it is. That's all football is.
Warren Point was a class place. There's fantastic people down there, as you touched on, Barry. Even the players that were there, and talk about the Hughes brothers and the experience and stuff that they had in the league. But you come back to Linfield after that, and you talk about fitting into the team a wee bit better. How difficult do you think that would be for kids now, knowing that there's a massive gap? Like, when you touched on the reserves even, and you have those first teamers, it's near enough every Saturday's a first team game. Yeah. And you kind of have to raise your standards. How do kids raise their standards now? Because it seems like it's just an under-18 league.
What out of... I mean, I think there's two ways to look at it as well. Linfield, at least when I was there, and I'm pretty sure it's still now, there is no club like it in terms of standards at training. I can remember being like when I came back and going into, I know you're going in the, one bibs around the outside, bibs against non-bibs in the middle, 6v6, use the ones on the outside, just something simple like that. And actually being like apprehensive and scared to get the ball.
Aye, from on the outside, you mean?
Yeah, either because if you give it away, you're like the pressure. It was like a World Cup final. I can remember going and training, actually hiding sometimes, on purpose. Going over to Big Cameron Stewart and go, right, I follow you around, you follow me around, or going over to Stevie Fallon and we'll just stay out of the way here, just to kind of get a bit of a moment's rest. Yeah. But see the constant exposure to that. By the time it was, end of the season, I was there a few years, particularly even Linfield, then you don't ever feel apprehensive. That's, as you see so many players that come to Linfield struggle with that kind of pressure, and the young ones kept coming up. Like when I came back, even though I had that exposure, there's nothing, you just kind of either sink or you swim. That's kind of at those top clubs. And I'm sure there's other clubs that are like this as well, but like at the top clubs, you sink or you swim. And, there's so much more to football than just being able to be technically good. You've got to be able to cope with the pressure. You've got to be able to cope with the training demands. And I always felt I was good at that side of it, being able to, I never felt really pressure. Always bust my balls, but then I was probably worse for on the more technical side of it, which is where I kind of struggled. But it's difficult. It's difficult for kind of any young kid trying to break through here, especially when you have the more and more people from outside of the country coming, coming into the league. But it's competitive. But that's the way it is now. It's just the football's competitive.
Do you think that environment at Linfield's changed now with the change of players? So those old school heads, say Jamie McMurray just signed another year. Yeah. So Jamie's been there 20 years or whatever. He's kind of carried that mantle for a long time of experience, should you say? What happens when Jamie goes?
I'm so grateful. Jimmy Callagher, Sean Ward, Andy Waterworth, Kirk Miller, Roy Carroll, Mark Stafford, like these people that I play with, that I was only a young kid, and the time and thinking back, I was probably sometimes acting a bit too much of a ganch, around training, laughing to what Linfield.
You've done that at the end.
Yeah. So all the time, I never really learned my lesson.
That's not changed.
I know. So, but at Linfield, and they always really looked after me. But all of them together, like I'm so grateful that I was able to spend such a young part of my career around people like that. Because then when you go to other clubs, like, I used to hate when, I was at Carrick or Warrenpoint or Ards and being like, oh, unlucky today, we could beat 3-0. Like, unlucky. Like, my brain just couldn't accept that, even though that was okay.
Yeah,
But
your
actually,
standards had to change because your
yeah,
environment was
it actually is okay that Ards are getting beat 3-0 away to Linfield. Like, that's actually not the end of the world. But my brain was just not wired like that. And I think so much of that is actually just being around. See, all those people I just mentioned, they're just complete winners. And I think that has been maybe, I mean, you say this is I know Linfield have had a bad season. They've still been very successful over the past number of years. But it's why kind of recruitment is so important as well, especially for a club like Linfield, to make sure, like, I'm not in the change rooms, I don't know, maybe there is 3, 4, 5 more people like Mulgrew that are there already and are kind of doing the same thing that Andy and Sean are doing. But I think that is the changing room and the leaders and the people that you have in it is such an underrated part of successful teams. I look back at that Linfield team and it's like, there's no way they weren't winning. Those guys were just wired to be complete winners. They argued, but then it wasn't nasty, and they shared their different. Like, it was basically always everybody against Andy. Andy said, "No, I'm right because of this," and them all said, "No, you're not," and everybody arguing back and forth. And they were all. It was never nasty. It was never being mean to each other. It was just, how do we win? And having grown up, adult conversation with each other. So I think recruitment's such a huge part, especially around the type of people that you bring into the change room.
Whenever we look at recruitment at the minute, and we've seen a massive influx of players coming from England, Scotland, and the demands that the Irish League's a lot different than what people ever expected to be, especially probably looking from the outside in. You're probably going, that league's crap. But it's so different than most other leagues. It's ferocious at times. At the pace of it's fast, it's direct. How do you think that these players are going to continue to keep coming in to fit in, or do you think that you kind of need to look at local lads and try and target the best, because there's probably not the right amount of young local talent to come through and play full-time football?
I mean, it's a good question. I think first of all, always the Irish League has been kind of underrated from how many players have you seen, clubs you've been at, where boys have come back from England, even boys from here that have went and been at Hull for 2 years, completed their apprenticeship, and then now they're coming back and they're signing for Linfield, and they just struggle straight away because it is such a unique, I think, kind of league, being able to, yes, you can go play Larne, and then 2 weeks later, I think like Liam Bagnall or Andrew Doyle, people that are like so super aggressive and terrible to play against. You've got all these different types of players, and it's ferocious. I think maybe in recent years it's been a little bit better, but the players that have been coming in from elsewhere haven't been I'd say the hit rate of success isn't very high. Yes, there's been some great players that have kind of come through, come from England and Scotland, but there's been a lot that have came and failed. I think ultimately it'll come down to, where can the clubs get the best value for money, and are they going to keep probably paying higher to bring in players from National League or Scottish Championship and things like that, or are we going to see a bit of a shift in trying to kind of promote more local? I think the problem is, I don't think a lot of the best players from the academies are then getting taken to England to go play. So you think of Linfield is probably one of the best academies, but not that often do Linfield players come through into their first team. That's because when they're 16, 17, they get bought by Forest or and they're sold. So I think, to be honest, I think the clubs are in a difficult position around how they kind of bring through their own talent, because what you can, any of your top talent, you want the sale because it's going to make you money as a company or as a club. But then you're kind of left with, right, well, who are we going to have on our team? Because there's nobody.
End up costing you more, doesn't it? In a way, because you're looking at, well, necessarily you're looking at housing somebody, so you're looking at having the facilities to keep somebody, feed them, look after them, training 5 days a week. It's a lot to put out on, considering we used to be a part-time league.
I don't know how. I mean, I'm sure we could probably get the actual information behind it, but I don't know how any of it is financially viable for the clubs. All the clubs must be
all clubs must be running at a loss,
like all of them. Because I don't see how, with, like, I love our league, but like with the fan size we have, and I don't think there's enough money in it to be running it the way.
And even at that, like I know Europe's a massive bonus, and the likes of Linfield or Lauren, if Lauren get to the group stages, they get a bigger pay packet.
Yeah.
Does that cover you? I mean, probably. That
Yeah.
probably helps massively towards
But that's
your
a big
next 3,
gamble.
4 years. Yes, but can you
That's-
get there for one?
Yeah.
How difficult is it going to be? It's only happened once.
Yeah.
And then the other clubs who don't, yes, I remember always going to Europe and it was like, class, club just made 250 grand.
Yeah.
You get beat in the first round, you got your 250 grand, then you're just back home.
Yeah.
Or you got through the next one, and more than likely you were done in the second game.
Yeah.
So your club's getting 500k, they don't get it till the following year, whatever way that works. It's a lot of, like, it's not that much money considering most people's budgets are probably 300, 400, 500 grand a year.
They're, you know, the money now, even compared to say 5, 6, 7 years ago, it just seems to have been going, you know, up and up and up. But it's not like,
Can you joke about Brexit and inflation and all?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
but it's not like, you know, the crowd sizes have quadrupled.
No.
Or times 5. You know, I'm thinking I used to argue over like an extra 20 quid a week, and then now, like, it's like times 4 of that. So
It's more than 4.
yeah, so it's like,
But,
yeah, just, I mean, look, maybe we're being, we're not running the clubs, we don't know.
No.
But it's something you would worry about is like, you know, are some of these like, you know, big, great clubs going to end up getting themselves in real trouble?
Yeah.
And the league in general, are going to get themselves in trouble. And we both know that everything's not done by the books either. You know, so I don't know. Like, obviously, I'm not really qualified to talk about it, but it is a bit of a worry thing.
It's always good to have an opinion on it, and that's why I like having the podcast as mine, because like people can't really tell you what to talk about and what not to talk about. Now, we love the league, and the league being full time, I think, is a great thing. Is it financially like affordable at the end of the day, or in 5 years' time? Probably not. The last thing you want is the league to get to a certain standard, and then these people pull out,
Yeah.
and then the league fucking depletes because there's all these people on these wages and you can't
But-
pay them, and it becomes a
Now, again, maybe I'm looking at this from a completely, not selfish perspective, but like self-absorbed perspective. Do you think the league, quality-wise, is that much better than it was 10 years ago?
no.
I don't. And yet, 10 years ago, everybody was part-time. Everybody was, you know, going to work during the day. And, you know, you telling me that Crew's team with, you know, Chicken, Heats and Gavin White, or that Linfield team that I was I was part of, tell me they wouldn't have won the league this year.
Yeah.
Right. So now look, maybe it's a more of a long term thing, but I my own, like you said, personal opinion is that the level of quality hasn't increased to what the level of investment has, you know, been put in.
Yeah.
And you know, it would be great for one of these teams just to kind of pull all the best part-time players into one team.
That's what I think.
Just have like a
is-
part-time Avengers team.
I'm listening, like, I think that the likes of an old Linfield maybe going, we don't want investment, we're going to go back to part-time. I take all the best part-time players, or Ballymena,
Yeah.
same, they do something similar. I think that there's a very big niche in the market there for players who, well, like yourself, who has a top-class job, who can't afford to go full-time, doesn't want to,
Yeah.
because it's not feasible for you to go and get 30 grand a year, 35 grand a year
Yeah.
full-time. Like, why would you do that when you can work and
And
make money?
I think about it, like, let's say we were talking about me coming through at Linfield there. Let's say that was me now as a 17-year-old. So when I was 17, I didn't want to go away to university because it was coming through Linfield. I was like, I want to play. My head, I was still break in, have a good season, I'll go across to QPR. Turned out to be Paul Smith did that, not me. But like that was what was in my head. He's in my dream. So I was like, I don't want to go away. My dad was like, right, go and do an apprenticeship or something. So I went and I did an apprenticeship. So I worked, you know, every day, 9 to 5, and Monday, Tuesday, Thursday nights went to Linfield training from 6 to 9, and on Wednesdays went and paid for reserves. So it was pretty flat out, to be fair, at Linfield at the time.
But it's normal, because that's all you know.
That's
Like,
all,
that's
exactly.
normality.
But if I was breaking through at Linfield now, I couldn't have took that, because training's from 9 to 12.
Yeah.
Now, knowing myself, I probably would have went and got like a delivery job or something to do in the afternoon. But I couldn't have built a career like I have. And look, now not everybody is able to do that as well. I know that. But I think then, well, what happens then in 2 or 3 years after I had signed my first professional deal with Linfield, I then got let go and I went to Ards, right? And Ards were like a lower half Premiership team who wouldn't be full time in this world. So say like it's like a Carrick or a somebody like that now. Well then, what am I going to do for my job? Because now I've been full time for 3 years. I could have had a 3-year head start in my career. So it's something I think that, and to be fair to Carves and the guys PFA, that I know they're actively looking at it, is how do we kind of support the players, the young players that are going full time, for coming out for what their job and life's going to be.
Now I've the last couple of years, whenever I was in certain teams, I'd met and came across some fantastic young lads, like really good kids, really good talent, and you can tell that their burning desire is literally to be a footballer. So was mine, so was yours.
Yeah.
But reality kicks in that if you're still in the country at 20, and you're going to go to one of these teams, like the chances are decreasing sort of as you get older. Not saying it's impossible. That's a complete lie. It can still happen.
Yeah.
But the morality of it and like the ideal, realistic approach to what you should be doing now is like, how do I potentially plan for the future? And I don't think the clubs remotely care enough about anything offside for young kids.
Yeah, and then the question is, we're getting deep here, but then the question is it their responsibility? And I think maybe, but also, I don't know, I just think it used to blow my mind sometimes being at some clubs where, we train twice a week, 3 times a week, and boys are making enough money in that they can live their life, but they sit around and do nothing all day.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you could be
doing something
as well.
Yeah.
Right. First of all, you'll get a lot more money for your own life, and then secondly, you'll be preparing for, after. Like I still know some people now who are like, 31, 32, like
100%.
the tail end of
Their career.
career.
They're probably got their last paycheck.
Yeah.
Big one. And
they've no plan for, and I think part of it, I think a person should be able to take responsibility themselves as well. But is there things the club and the league and I think I said, I know the PFA are looking at it to try and encourage them to, I think in England, the PFA, have like offer like electrician apprenticeships and plumbing apprenticeships.
I go to BTEC or do something.
Stuff put like
in Millfield or something where they'll become a partner. And
something like that would be
online. Was it University Online or something?
Something like that I think would be good. A few cohorts a year of players here near the end of their career are part of the PFA and they're going to do a electrician. So I think there's probably more, and that I understand why it has not been set up, because we're transitioning from a part-time to a full-time league. So like we're still early doors now, but I think that needs to be something that
has to be looked at.
Yeah,
I think so. That was
a complete team issue.
Let's go back into one of your many clubs. So Weird Ards.
Yeah.
You obviously had a decent enough time, a decent exposure to Ards, but after that, I think you jump on a plane and decide to go to Australia.
Yeah. So,
because you're still quite young at this stage, and you're like, I'm just going to Oz here. I
was 21 or 22. I'd done well at Ards. I'd established myself as a decent RC player. I'd got my first hamstring injury when I was at Ards.
Okay.
But I'd kind of came back and recovered from that. But thinking back, it was pretty significant, thinking that was the first time that it happened. But like I loved Ards and I was doing very well there, and I think it had a bit of interest from some clubs, Coleraine and Ballymena. I'd been at loan at Ballymena a previous year, so anyway, I was kind of thinking about what I was going to do. I'd come up to the end of my contract. My own personal life went a little bit left field, and I just didn't feel. I just felt I was going down a certain path, and I was like, I want to kind of get out of here and try something new. So I was friends with Johnny Black.
So Johnny Black was leading you down a dark alley?
No, not yet. I was actually going to Johnny Black to get me out of the dark alley, which
you met him in Australia, who then led you down one there. Yeah, so, fair enough.
You should get Johnny on the podcast. Honestly, the stories he's got
he's amazing.
It's unbelievable. So I just he was in Australia at the time, and I was kind of messaging him, and he was like, "It's so easy to come out here." He says, "Make a video, send it around a few clubs, you'll get an offer from a team, and then just get your visa and book a flight." So I didn't really think much of it. This is around like the August time, my second year at Ards, and made a video. If you go on YouTube, you can see it. And I bring it up. I'll bring it up at every party I'm on. These YouTube.
This is me.
Jonny Frazer goals and assists from my first year at Ards, and there's I sent around a lot of the clubs in Australia and got like loads of offers back. And there was one that Johnny Black was signed for, a team called Altona City, and they were like, "We'll give you $1,000 a week. Well, you can come out here." So I was just like, stuff it. Like, I don't have any ties here. May as well go try something.
Yeah.
So booked a flight for. I was out there for New Year's. I told the Ards. Ards weren't too happy. They ended up getting relegated that year. I didn't know because
You were away.
I was away.
Doesn't count. Yeah.
But I flew out there. I'd done like a bit of traveling and partying first round Byron Bay with Johnny and Sydney, and then got to Melbourne, and like the $1,000 a week was my rent was like I think $250 a week or $300 a week. So like just for context, I had 700 of just I didn't need to work if you want money, and of course Dumhammy in pre-season, like the second pre-season session. And the way that it worked over in Australia is you can only have 3 players in your squad that are visa players.
Right.
To stop them just bringing in like people from all around the world. So they basically just pulled me and said, yeah, we're not going to pay you. We're not going to waste a visa spot on you. So we're not going to pay you. We're going to bring in somebody else. So I went from getting $1,000 a week to $0 a week. And the visa that I had got didn't allow me to work for any company for more than like 2 months or 3 months. So I work in IT. No IT company's going to bring you on. Wouldn't have to get rid of you in 3 months. Now, like a building contractor would, because maybe they've just got short-term work. But like, so I couldn't get a job in what I do. So then Johnny got me into construction. I'll show you some photos after. I went to, like the hardware shop. I don't even know what you call it. Where I got my helmet, I got my belt, the hammer, all my stuff.
Like a young Bob.
I was like a manual labourer. I got up and I went to, got a tram to like building sites at like 5 o'clock. Mate, I tell you, I made the CV, right? Me and Johnny Black sat one night, laptop, making a CV for labouring work, and I just made it up. I just Googled Belfast construction companies, and I seen whatever the top one was. I said, yeah, I worked there for 4 years, skills, jackhammer, I put a load of stuff, right? So got to the construction site. I don't know if you ever worked at a construction site, but there's like a foreman, and he has a meeting at the start, and he's like almost saying like, these 3 people, you just go do this. These 2 people, you go do this. He says, is there a Jonny Frazer here? And I was like, oh, it's me. Like, I'm literally in my brand new gear, like, looked all apart. Right. And he says, you know how to use a jackhammer? I said, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, well, downstairs in the lower, we're building a car park, and it's like on the lower ground floor. There's a jackhammer down there. I says, dead on. I'm just going to go to the toilet here first. So go in the wee blue portacabin, I'm YouTubing how to use jackhammer. It's my first day. So I go down, and they're really heavy, and I put it on, and I'm like, it's going like that. And there's a wee bit of dust coming off. I think, that's all right, I must be doing the job then. So I'm there for about 15 minutes. It's hardly anything's moved. And this Dublin guy comes down, he goes, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes down, and he like puts a bit of force behind it, and a huge big slab of concrete jumps off. I'd basically just been like tapping at the top of it. So I'd done labouring for like, I don't know, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, but it just wasn't the life for me. Yeah. I have a good job waiting for me at home, and I tried it. So I came back, but yeah, like I'd got leaving presents from work. All my mates had chipped in and got me like $500, $600 for going away, and I literally was coming home 12 weeks later. Thanks, you just paid for me party there at Byron Bay. Appreciate that. So it's a bit of a I guess weird, interesting time of life. Glad I kind of tried it, and I wasn't there too long, and it was
fun more than anything.
In another world, I didn't get hurt, and I'm maybe still out there. Yeah. But obviously looking back, I've got missus and the kids now, so like everything kind of always works out.
And you extended your Irish League career because once you come back, you somehow wiggle your way into the Glens.
So yeah,
like how does that work? Like,
well, Ali Poor just bought the Glens. And he says, I want the biggest, flashiest, best player in the league.
Fair.
So Mick rang me.
Right.
And I said, I don't know anybody. He says, well, will you send anyway? No, actually, Big Cam signed. So Cameron Stewart, one of my best mates. I came home and Ards got relegated and Feeney was still a manager. And to be honest, there was not really any interest. Like I don't know if any people didn't know it was home or I don't know. But like I had an offer from Ards, and I was just gonna go and play in the championship with Ards. And then Big Cam was signing for them, because Wendy knew Cam from Glenavon. I just said to Cam behind me on the way down, he's going to meet them. And he says, just throw my name in there.
See what happens, yeah.
And Wendy says, oh, is Jonny Frazer back? Is he? I always liked him. He's good. And I actually scored quite a few goals against Glenavon over my time at Ards. So next thing, Wendy gives me a call. And goes, here, John, come down for a chat. I went down and, Mick and Wendy, I'd have signed immediately anyway. Like, I had no offers, essentially. But, Mick especially really kind of explained all the vision and what they were planning to do with the club. And it was genuinely really exciting. Like, Glentoran are a huge club. And
a massive club.
And they'd been going, this way. And it really seemed so, like, I remember leaving going like, God, I'll sign whatever they offer me here. Like, literally whatever. And then they offer me a, good deal. And I signed. And I can remember at the time, like, the Glens fans not being particularly happy that the first two signings the Alipur era were Jonny Frazer and Cameron Stewart, which I understood. And I was only 23 at the time. I can never remember this guy on Twitter wrote, F me Fraser, is he only 23? I thought he was 30. And always that comment has always stuck out to me, like, for the rest of my life.
Screenshot it on your phone. Yeah.
So yeah, that was, I guess, a bit unexpected, but so grateful, and what a fantastic time I had there of just memories and craziness happening, and Mick and Wendy were characters, like, I think, as one way to put it.
What is it like for them? Because I did meet them at one stage, and obviously after the meeting I was like, it's probably not ideal for me to go in there, but I've had plenty of conversations with both of them, and they seem to be like the maddest pairing.
Yeah, they were.
And then they were at the helm
of
one of the biggest clubs in the country, and you're sitting going like, how's this going to go?
I think Mick, obviously he's called Mad Mick. I have a huge amount of time for him. Always really liked him. I'll tell you a funny story in a minute about him losing the plot with me, but always really liked him, and he was actually a pretty good coach as well, which was I didn't expect. One of the first times in my life that I actually felt that I was getting better in training. Like, that's the standard was so high. But Mick just had a short fuse and can lose it, and there's a number of fallouts with. I just think in general that time at Glentoran, you're going through change with Mick, with Wendy, with players between each other, with other coaching staff, with board members. There just was always some sort of drama going on at the club, which is a bit of a distraction, at the time. But that specific year, that group of players, and went on to win the Irish Cup, I almost felt that we kind of thrived in the chaos. Doozle not turning up to the game because he was in Liverpool. That was honestly the funniest thing ever.
Like, do you know he's away,
mate? So Doozle was in the summer. He was in Castle Court, and he was looking at in the travel agent's window. And Mick cut behind him. Oh, what about you? I hope you're not booking any holidays. And Doozle goes, no, but I am going to Liverpool on the 6th of May or the 6th of January. Right, sailor Doozle. Right, so Doozle thinks I've told him that I'm away on holiday. Now, bear in mind, this is like June the previous year. He says, I've told him that I'm away. So, then we're in training, and Doozle said he's away. And Doozle had been out of the team a bit at the time, and Robbie was playing ahead of him, and he wasn't really happy. But he says, Doozle, you have to tell him. He says, no, I'm not. I told him already. I'm not telling him. I say, Doozle, you have to tell him. But he didn't, and nobody did. So then, the way that Mick used to actually name the team was really weird. He used to come in and not say anything, and just write it on the whiteboard. So he wrote like Elliot Morris, Moko. I'm just waiting to see, is he going to write Fraser? Nope, not there. So he came in and he wrote the team, and I was starting left wing, and then he wrote Murray 9, and he walked out of the room, and we were all looking at each other like, oh my God. And like I said, Mick had a short fuse, so I'm not being the person to go and tell him.
I'm not putting myself in that.
We'll let this just go. So then John O'Kane, one of the assistants, goes in and goes, where's Doozle? Where's Doozle? And I went, he's in Liverpool. And John goes, no, where's Doozle? I was like, he's in Liverpool. And like, now all the boys are kind of watching. And John's looking around, and everyone's just kind of like, John, he's in Liverpool. And I just got like my Snapchat story. It's like, Doozle in Liverpool. It's like, Liverpool, like the wee location thing. And Next thing, John's out of the room, and all you hear is this screaming and shouting. John O'Kane's getting shouted at for Doozle being Liverpool. So then Mick comes back in from chaos, and with this Croatian guy called Antonio Duric.
Can't remember.
Yeah, he used to sleep on our sofa. And so Mick just pulls me in, just goes to Frazer and I talk to him, pulled me in, he goes, sorry, look, Doozle not being here, I've had to change the team. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And he put Duric in for Doozle and then put Nav Naziri in for me.
Oh, so you get bombed because Doozle wasn't in the squad?
Yeah, and then after he left, I thought, wait, hold on. What am I? What am I going to do with this?
You said his name first. Yep. John's with him, but it was Fraser.
Why not just put Duric in for Murray? Like, why did I have to?
Why did you get sacked off? 100%.
So, but then that was the day ended up coming off a bench and diving to win the penalty, and then we ended up winning. So it all kind of works out. But just the time at Glens, it was full of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Of signings were signed and story. Did you ever hear of a guy called Tom Byrne? So Tom Byrne, he was like Ireland under 17, like unbelievable player.
Okay.
And I think he went to Preston or Villa. Had a few issues, I think behavioural, and came back home, and he bounced around a few of the down south clubs. And then he signed for us. And you'd heard these stories about how he was a rocket that sounded so outlandish that they couldn't have been true, and I genuinely couldn't repeat some of them. But they sounded so outlandish they couldn't be true. And after spending 6 months with them, they all are definitely true. Like, that's just how you know. But he was this unbelievable footballer. He's like a winger, but he just didn't care what he was the reason for like half the drama all the time. He just didn't care. Do you know the way managers sometimes would be like, talk to the group, but they really talk to one person and be like, if you don't want to be here, just go on in. I can say that to him. Tom just bib off, walked in from training. Literally middle of training session, goes, do you want to be here? Just go on in. Just takes his bib off and walks in. And then we went out on our Christmas night out, and Mick was always great for giving money and putting money in the pot and all. He just says, right, lads, one thing, just make sure you look after Tom Byrne. When he's up from Dublin, please look after him. So we all go out. Next morning, group chat. Anybody heard from Tom? No one heard. Next thing, Connor Pepper gets a phone call. It was the police station. Had to go bail him out of jail. Got bailed out of jail. Went back down to, had bailed him out, went back down south, and never seen him again.
Right.
So it was like this 6 months of just having...
chaos.
Just all the time at Glentoran was just chaos. But it was such a... I look back on it so fondly. Probably the best year of my career.
Mm-hmm.
And it was somewhere where I felt that I never really started, but I was like an actual valuable
asset. Like you came on and
and it was like a thing. It was like,
we need you here.
We need you, and so I was actually a valuable member of the team, like you said. And that's probably was my most enjoyable year in football.
Did you know it was coming to an end, or did you think that you were going to stay?
No, I thought I was going to stay there for a long time. Like, and it's something me and Mick had talked about. Like, I'd have spent a lot of time when they brought in the foreign lads. I'd have taken them out. I'd have had them round to the house for dinner.
Yeah, you and Naziri and stuff.
Yeah,
well, Pepper and stuff. All like you were all quite close at the time, weren't you?
Yeah, but then even like the Croatian boys that come in, I had them up to my mum's house for dinner. Like
that would have been like Horvath,
what a player!
Mate, he was so good.
Yeah, his free kicks. See as well. See in training, you got a balls after training and had 10 free kicks and 7 of them went on top ends. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I was happy I loved playing for Glentoran so much. I was happy just being a club man and being a squad player and being like, yes, I wanted to play.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure we're still part of it. I didn't want to just never be in a squad or anything like that.
Yeah, but if you're contributing, you felt like you're still part of it.
I'd have been happy to start 15 games, come off a bench in 2025 for another 10 years there.
Yeah.
And we went and played in Europe. Went to Motherwell. I must have pissed Mick and Wendy off. Went to Motherwell, and we're about to get in the bus, and Mick and Wendy pulled me into the wee room, and they're showing me on the iPad the left back. He's so slow. You're gonna get at him. You're gonna go this way and go inside. Show me about 10 cups of the left back. So I get on the bus, sit down beside Nav, going like, I think I'm starting here. Just show me a picture of left back. Then I wasn't even in the squad. Like literally did the squad while he did it. I had been telling everybody in the bus, I think I'm starting here. was like, why did they just go and show me the left back? And I'm convinced, I swear, I'm convinced that Mick used to write up the team, and he would have been about to write Jonny Frazer, and they'd be like, "Nah, I can't start Jonny."
No.
Like, that's just the way I think it.
Yeah.
So after that, I pulled him. This is in the summer, obviously, and I was like, "Look, what's the crack here? Like, am I going to play?" They just signed Jimmy McDonough as well. So I was like, look, and he knew that I was happy to I don't need to be starting every week, but I need to have some sort of. But when he said that I wasn't gonna, I probably wouldn't have been involved. I wasn't happy to kind of sit there and not play. You know what I mean? So that's what I said. Like, well, can you put me up on loan? And that's when I went to Carrick then.
Carrick's a bit different, obviously, for you, but you go and you start playing, you get a bit more regular. But I mean, for to be not treated that way, it can be quite common when you hear some stories around the league of how people are sort of kind of pushed in a direction, and it made it pretty clear that you were obviously going. You know?
I think, I don't know what you were like. I had never ever been somebody to go and like rap a manager's door or complain or anything like that.
No, I think probably the reason why I fought with most people is because I'm kept knocking doors and complaining.
See, I just never had. I always thought if a manager's going to change his mind and start playing me because I rapped this door, then it's something I don't want to play for anyway. Like, why are you being bullied by someone that I need to put in the squad? But I think that does happen. I can remember I went to Mick. One time I've ever rapped the door, and was why I'll never do it again. Went to Mick after training, and like I couldn't have said it any more nicely. Like I come off the bench like 3 games in a row and scored a winner, like 2 of the games, and set up the other one. Like it literally, we were coming down, or we're getting beat. I'd come off the bench, would won the game, like 3 games in a row. And after training, like this is what I said, Mick, I'm really wondering, like, what more can I do to get in the team? I feel like I'm really trying my heart, like so polite, and like it wasn't why the f am I not playing, right? So nice about it. He was like, oh, you know, you need to keep working, and blah, blah, blah. He said something. So then 2 weeks later, we're playing Queens in the Irish Cup, and he started me, and I had an absolute stinker. Like, I mean, I was kicking the ball out of play. It was bouncing off my shins. Thank God I was on the other side of where Mick was. But like, I mean, it was the worst game I've ever played in my life. And he comes in at half time, and we're drawn, or we might have just been winning or something. We ended up winning 3-2, but he's going ballistic, right? And he goes, and Frazer, he's looking around, he goes, you rapping my door begging me to play? He said, no, it wasn't. And he flips a table. There's a big physio table, and he flips a table, like lads whacks against cricket. And he goes, just points right at Kieran Harden. He goes, Kieran Harden could have done a better job than you today. Kieran's standing in the corner, like, go, me? Like, what? Bring me into it. So I would have never been someone to rap a door, but I think you're right that that could sometimes hit, like, I think over the course of my career, I was then easy to be pushed aside, easy to be the one that's easy to drop from the squad, easy to be like kind of kicked down the road. And that's, you know, I think that's part of the reason why I've had so many clubs is, like, jokingly aside, I was never really happy to just sit and not play. Like, I always wanted to go and play and try and experience new things. So, like, it was sad then at Glens, because during that year there, I really thought I was going to be there for a long time and would have loved to have been there for a long time. And actually, when I came back from Carrick and I was going to sign, or about to sign for the Cruise, Glen tore off me a deal, and but it was like full time, and they were like, oh yeah, you need to come to training twice a week, but they just wanted to have me around the place. But I knew I would never ever play if I wasn't training all the time like everybody else, so that's why I didn't stay. But so
it's more value in what you're probably bringing to the change room than what you're contributing on the pitch, if that makes sense. They've probably seen that you're so good with everyone. Sometimes they want that player that just gels people together, and in fairness to you, but you're probably one of the best things that you've had is that you've never segregated yourself into like a group. It's always been like, I just bounce to here and sit here and jump into that group, and you're.
I think it's a bit like I think that is probably what was my best quality as a footballer, was like, how many people have you heard say about Jonny Frazer being shite in football but not great in the change room? Yeah, like, that's like,
you do your body sound but really good guy.
Yeah. And that's like, it's a bit sad that that's kind of what my best football skill was being able to be. But I think, like I said, it's such a huge part, and thinking of people like Ogres and Sean Ward, I just seen the value of what they can add to the change room and being like, that is like kind of
The way it should be.
the way it should be. So yeah, like that I think ultimately is a huge part of football that is not seen as much, and something that I've really missed since stopped playing.
I think that that's one of the biggest issues that you kind of see towards the end. I think that certain people have a personality, and certain people are allowed to express it and be comfortable enough in their personality to kind of have those conversations with people and have a bit of crack. I fear that that's probably going to come out of it too. Like, not everybody wants to be out there and have crack, and people sit in their phones, come in the change room. First thing they do is sit down until they're ready to go and do their stretching, go in, out, train, back, done, and you're sitting go.
We used to come down to Cruise early
Yeah.
just to
Have
play
crack,
ping pong and have crack and
Be there for like 5:45,
Yeah.
and everyone was
like, oh, sorry, I had to go to training early tonight. We've been there 2 hours before training.
the whole
Yeah.
head tennis thing before and all. It just became a really... I enjoyed that first initial 6 months, and then after that I was sort of done.
Yeah, well, I don't think Steve and Baxter really understood my personality
Or mine. Yeah.
or my banter and just kind of took it
As if you're trying to do him in.
yeah,
As if to be
or
like,
as
"Oh,
if
I'm
not
against
taking,
you.
yeah, or as if I'm not taking it seriously, or as if
Yes, 100%.
and it's like that's not the case. But I didn't enjoy really. I love that group, and we're still friends now. Obviously, that group of us. I love that group and that change room, and it was just so funny. But I really did not enjoy. I can remember going to Stephen Baxter. Like, I'd only just got, this is maybe third game of the season, and we played 4-3-3, and Lex was in the middle. And I said to him, I was playing on the right, and I said to him, when the ball's in, like on the left hand side, do you want me in beside close to Lex for a flick on, or do you want me staying out wide to stretch play? Like, I think there's two different ways you can play that as a right winger. You can come in narrow, a flick on, you can stay wide. So I went and asked him, which would you like to do? Because at Glentoran, I was always asked to stay wide right. Mm-hmm. But then at Carrick, they'd asked me to come in real narrow. And you can't do both. I remember pulling Stephen and asking him that question, like, which would you rather? And he was like, I'm really concerned that you're asking me that question. And walked off. I was like, what? Like, it's a normal question to ask. And we just didn't, click, I don't think, from the start.
I probably did try to push buttons towards the end. Personally.
Like, try to win. Well,
Yeah.
because you were that
That
annoyed at it.
Yeah. And I felt so much enjoyment from doing that because I was so far gone. I was like, I'm going to win here my own way. And that's when the pink Crocs, and then everybody had Crocs.
Yeah.
And the Crocs became such a big issue. I was like, why is this what you're focusing on?
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. But we were still so successful. And that's why I hate that sort of period, because I'm like, it was such a good team. And to be fair to Stephen and Spearsy, they're great people, and Gavin and the people who run the club are good people. And I was just like, how has it went from being like up here to just being, what? I don't get it.
Well, there was just so many things that I just couldn't wrap my head around. Like, so when I signed as well, now bear in mind, I just had an absolutely terrible season at Carrick, right? I'd been injured basically the whole year. This was really the start of a career starting to go downhill, to be honest, so getting injured all the time.
But when you think about defining moments, you talk about moments. That moment where you play against Crusaders at Seaview,
Yeah.
you're going to have to talk us through it.
Yeah, send the video to BJ Burns again after I just ran past him. And no joke, I'd actually had a terrible season. I played 8 games, tore my hammy, was out for 3 months. Came back and played off the bench against Linfield and done all right. That was my first game back, and then he started me against Crews. I think it was New Year's Day. It was in around that time, and I had a really, really good game. Felt fast and brilliant, like really fast. I just felt like every time I got the ball, nobody could near me, and scored 2. Should have scored 3. Buzzing all after, beat the Crews, and next morning, Craig McLean calls me. Fuzzer, say, Baxter's looking at your number. You're like, a minute. I says, yeah,
Absolutely.
no problem. So it was a Saturday. A Sunday, went down and met him in the club. And it's so funny looking back. Oh, he's like, tell me that me and Lecky are going to be the next Chicken and Heatley. And of course, at the time, I'm like, that sounds great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So says all the right things. Actually walked away really impressed. He says, you're not leaving here without signing a contract. I was like, oh, I don't know, I need to talk to Ben Torn, and because it's only on loan, I need to talk to such and such. He says, no, you're not leaving here without, because I know you'll go and speak to other people. And he was like, how's this for you for a year? And he wrote down on a piece of paper. And like, I near shit myself. And like, he's like, do you want 2 years or 3 years? I was like, 3 will be good. 3 will be good. Just couldn't believe it was the best kind of contract I ever got in my life. And I came after basically one game. And then the Monday night, we were away to Glenavon with Carrick. Ball over the top. I'm running after it. Keeper comes out. I flick it past him. And as I flicked it past him, ripped my tendon in my hammy. Basically, like the worst hamstring injury that you can get. Like, couldn't walk and like had to be carried off the pitch. And I'm just, all I'm thinking about as I'm getting carried off is,
My money's blown away.
I just signed. I was going, does that count? Like, it's a pre-contract.
Can he rip it up?
He could just, there's no proof of it. And to be fair, I rang him the next day and he says, don't worry, we'll look after you. Branch trainer look after you.
Mm-hmm.
They paid for all the scans, they paid for everything. And I worked with Strainer, that was like February. And I basically worked with him the whole way then, even though I wasn't a car player. And he got me basically ready. I don't think I was ready to just start pre-season, but not long after I was able to start it. So to be fair, I honoured it, but they could have easily kind of like tore it up. But yeah, it was like Crusaders was it was just weird. And then when I went out on loan, I came back and he was obviously trying to get rid of me. And I was like, well, I have 2 years left in my contract and maybe train with the reserves for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I just got to the point going, I don't actually care. Like, I just want to go play football. I don't care if I've got 2 years on, like, I've got a job, but I don't rely on any of this football money. I just want to kind of go and play football. But just it's kind of sad to see Crusaders where they are at the minute. Yeah. Hopefully, I think Decky and Ogres are going to be two people that can hopefully try and start pushing them back in the right direction. But certainly the team that was there when we were there was fantastic.
Incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
It had everything.
How quickly it's just went from that to where they are now is a bit alarming.
Yeah. They have a lot of issues. Do you know what I mean? The club always did have issues. It had issues when we were there. They were maths because we won and then because of Europe. And you're sitting going in on 2 years in a row and you're sitting going like, there's money coming in. So like it was kind of like a self-sustaining wheel. You kind of got enough money to cover you to go back and do it again or try and do it again. And then
even like,
I feel bad for Decky because Decky's been put in this situation where he's pretty much been just
100%. He's been shafted,
like,
yeah.
You're coming in here, you need an extra budget down to whatever, and he's like, well, how do I keep players? Like, you need to do here, and then you have to go and look elsewhere. And I mean, I was one of the hands up as one of the people who thought he was going down. I couldn't see them surviving. Yeah. I mean, fair play to him, he's done everything he's done and he's not bad at it, but you need to help him. Like, you can't expect somebody to keep a Premiership team like Crusaders in the Premiership without giving them some sort of
and it's the struck goal with Bryden. Mm-hmm. You know, if they hadn't had him, they obviously had great recruitment as well from Decky, but I think they need to do that a few more times because they're certainly not going to be bringing in the players that they used to bring in the past. But even just the way that, like, do you remember it was like full time, it was like the gym session on the Tuesday morning.
It was just a load of shit.
And you went in and you had
so false.
Like 40 minutes, people just stood there and chatted.
I just went in and had breakfast, sat and had a bit of crack, and then head tennis, and then Gary McElwain was the only one there taking you. Everybody else kind of left.
Yeah.
But I do you know what? One person that I did enjoy the whole time throughout it was Spearsy.
I love Spearsy.
And I don't think he gets as much credit, probably. He doesn't overly bring stuff, but he's just, I don't know.
See, if I was ever a football manager, you'd need a Spearsy.
Yeah.
Right, he's someone who, obviously Spearsy is absolutely hard as nails.
Yeah.
He's old school, but he was also, it's that funny combination of, yes, he's hard as nails, but I think any of the players would have felt more comfortable going to talk to Spearsy about something
100%.
than anybody else, the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember one of the first training sessions we were up at Jordanstown, and I emptied the bottle of water over him.
Yeah, I remember. I actually have it down here in brackets, car.
Yeah. And Everyone we were walking in after, everyone was like, "Oh, I can't believe you did this."
It just came out of nowhere too, because you were just like,
Yeah,
and then he was just standing there, drenched in water from off his head with pure anger, and I was like, "What happened?"
And I ran away. He's standing there like grumpy face, and you can just see like the water like streaming down over his eyes. But I just thought, like, I was just cracked to me, like, and we thinking back again, like that was only like the third session, so he didn't really know me or anything as well. But I remember ever walking in being like, "Oh, you're so like." I was like, well, what can he actually do? Like, it's not like he can actually do anything. And then went out to the car, and all four of my tires are like not even like a little layer to them. Like all four tires are like completely flat, right? And then Jordanstown, the ramps are massive.
Yeah, they're so
going in and out,
yeah.
and I'm going over them, and basically like my flat tires. I think like 5 mile an hour the whole way up over the train tracks to try and get air in my tires after. And then he just texted me after being like, "You want to do that again or something?" And to be fair, I never did it again. The Spearsy, like, I met him a few weeks ago at, I think it was at Ballyera Golf Club. I was with Brandon. And we're chatting away to him. He's no interest in kind of getting back to it at the minute, but those type of people,
They made it because, like, even though you respected him, I remember having arguments with him, shouting back and forward, and then after he would just come over and be like, "I love that sort of stuff."
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's the way it should
you know what I
be.
mean? And then I go back to him and be like, "Yeah, I apologize, I shouldn't have said that." And he's like, "Nah, kid, sweet, football, you're angry, sweet, don't mind it, just do it Saturday." And I'm like, sweet.
Whereas other people like hold grudges and
He was actually somebody I thought would have done that, and
yeah.
I was like, he was so different than what I expected to be, and I think that's why I was like, because he used to have conversations with you throughout, and I'd be like, "I hate it here, I want to leave," and he's like, "Don't leave, like you can't, like you're only in pretty much."
Yeah.
And this is before leading up to the Irish Cup, and I was like, "I don't want to be here." By the time January came, I was like, "Can I go on loan?" And he's like, "We can't send you on loan, you've only signed."
Even after you scored the Irish Cup final, did you still want to leave?
Yeah, I tried to leave, yeah, straight away, and they wouldn't let me. And then I finally got to leave, but I had to go to 1 point. I was like, Barry was like, "I'll pay whatever it is to get you to 1 point." And I was like, "I'll go to 1 point." I would have went anywhere.
Just wanted rid of it.
That's when I was like gone, yeah. And I just won the Irish Cup, so that was the thing.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if I've said much times about it, but like the Irish Cup, and the next day was the day everybody went out.
Yeah.
Everybody had a good crack, and a few stories came from that day. But that night when we all went back to the club, I must have left the club at 9 o'clock that night, and I was sitting in my dad's house with puppy ice cream. I just didn't want to do anyone out.
Didn't really borrow it.
I was like, I just scored an Irish Cup for him.
Couldn't care less.
Sitting in my man's house. Everybody's up celebrating, and Stevie's doing speeches, and I was like, I can't fucking sit there and pretend like I enjoy this.
Yeah.
And then Spearsy came out the next day and it was really good crack. I was like, fuck, this actually is.
This is actually alright.
Actually, it's good. But it's one of the weirdest times probably I've had, because you were so like up and then you were so down, and then you're like, what is this?
For 2 or 3 months being there, it's so weird. You just loved all the boys so much, but over time the boys were leaving. Ogers left, I left, and I wasn't there that long, but like we were all such a bit of a.
It was just very close knit.
But then just the managerial side of things. And look, that's football.
It is.
There's no grudge or anything. I think some of the things happened were mental, and some of the things that were said to me were completely mental.
My issue is that I actually just have really nice conversations with Stephen outside of football.
Yeah.
And he's like the best person. You talk to him and everything's fine, but you just sometimes don't fit somebody's idea.
Yeah, and I understand as well why my personality, why it can be taken the wrong way, and why I can take it as someone who isn't. I get it. I understand it as well. Like, do you remember I might have said this on the Niffle podcast with Ben, but the table tennis, when he wouldn't play me at table tennis, and then I says, "No, play me, and if you win, I'll rip up a 3-year contract. But if I win, I have to start today." And he like jumps up out of his seat. And we had to get went to not overtime, like sudden death. No, it was first 11, but that was like 13, 12, 14, 12. And I ended up winning, sweat dripping off the ground. The whole team is round, like watching this right before we go to play Carrick. I'm going from delighted, walk over. And do you remember you had the warm up top at the cruise? So I had the warm up top on, my shorts, socks. And then sitting there ready to go, and he goes, "Johnny, I don't think your shirt's up." Now I turn around, I'm sitting in the seat I always sat in. Said that wasn't my top. My top's up, and then I said, "What did you call the Catman? Ken?"
Ken Roy.
Ken Roy. Yeah. And they're like, oh no, I don't think you're in the squad. I was like
I just won
yeah.
the privilege to be in this situation right now.
But even that aside, right? Obviously, I'm not expecting to actually start. Likewise, I wouldn't have turned up a 3-year deal if I hated one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But as if you just let me do all that and walk over here and put on my kit, and then I've got to get undressed while it was embarrassing. But I said to him, like, why not? You've obviously made your mind up before, like the squad. Give me a call in the morning. Jonny, you're not the squad today. We'll talk about it Monday.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm like a scary person that's got to like. All it took was a courtesy of a phone call. I'm gonna ask somebody. He says, "Oh, I don't like doing that. About it's a hard part to do about being a manager."
That's the fact that you're a manager is one of the things.
I was like, "Yeah,
you have to do the hard thing."
So look, but like I said, like you hit the nail on the head. I could sit and have a coffee with Stephen and chat away. No problem. Absolutely. I just think there was a clash there, and to be honest, Jonny. Like, if I was really brutally honest, I wasn't a top player, and that was a squad full of top players. So I understand that I'm not, football's game of opinions, and the fact that I didn't work out at Crusaders isn't because of Stephen Baxter. I get that done in a day. If it was good enough, I was played.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I probably wasn't.
Yeah, sure. But I'll not say the same thing.
It's baseball, but so much more. Go bananas for Banana Ball with ESPN on Disney+. The greatest show in sports.
Are you kidding me?
Is the phenomenon everyone's talking about.
The trick play to the plate.
Catch the Savannah Bananas and other fan favorite teams all season long with select games streaming with ESPN on Disney+.
Let's go!
U.S. residents, 18 plus only. Select Banana Ball games available to all Disney Plus subscribers. Terms apply.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
At this stage, though, like, your love for the game has obviously started to diminish.
Yep.
Because you've, as I thought, not to highlight on certain things, but you've been training with reserves and stuff. You're probably looking out at this stage. He's looking, you're going, you're probably looking the same. I was in the same boat. I was looking out. So I know how I felt at that stage. You were probably in a similar boat. You obviously go to the Welders.
Yep.
And then Duns.
Yep.
With the idea potentially that you're near enough wrapping it.
I had a complete shift in priorities. So I had my first baby. She was like 1 when I was at the cruise.
Okay.
Work was getting busy. I was starting to kind of progress in my work career and, working late at nights and stuff.
Travel too.
Traveling over and then trying to make it work with, like, I need to be, I'd be flying over to London on a Monday and making sure I was getting the flight back and then going straight from the airport to training. Like, it was all just kind of building up a little bit. And I just thought, I'm putting in all this effort to football to then not even play at the minute. Like, why am I training 3 days a week for Crusaders on top of all this other personal life stuff I have to do? And all my best friends were at the Welders back from Ard, so Callum Barr, Scott Davison, Mike Clellan. So like, it was in my head of just go and enjoy football. Like, I've had a nice run. I've played for the top teams. I've been in and around it. And they're in the championship, obviously. I had 3 or 4, as I was leaving the cruise, 3 or 4 Premiership teams had come in and said, we'll take them on loan, we'll pay all the salary. And like, I was on very good money at the cruise. And see, even then, I still just thought, no, I just want to go and play.
Yeah.
Play with the Welders.
Your mates, near enough, yeah.
And so I just did that. I just thought, stuff it, I'll just do that. It's, 2 nights of training a week. If I miss a training session, it's not the end of the world. Like, stuff like it, just to ease a bit of that pressure. But there wasn't, at that time, my head wasn't going, I'm on the wind down now to retiring. My head was going, geez, I'm now going to win Championship Player of the Year. That's what my brain was, what I was thinking when I was going there. And I was going there to kind of enjoy, like, I'd had a few years now of being injured, being a bench player, not being in the squad. I was like, stuff this, I just want to go and score 30 goals a season in Championship and have fun. And I thought in my head, I was like, off my pace, it'll be even more of an asset than in the Championship. But then just kind of story of, especially my last few years, is hamstring injury, out for 12 weeks, come back 4 weeks later, another one, and just kept like piling up. And I absolutely Welders is, I'd say probably, I love playing for Glentoran, probably just the fact they were so big and we won the Irish Cup, and it was just great times. But Welders is probably the favourite club that I played for. I just felt really part of the club there. So many, great friends that I've made through the Welders. That's all I'm kind of, in touch with now. But I just had a really, really tough time there with getting injured constantly. And Johnny Cummins, who was the physio there, is actually now the physio at Linfield. Yeah, amazing guy, best physio I've worked with. Like, without him, I would have played half the games that I actually did. But my body just started breaking down. It had that many bad hamstring tears. Just each time, the chance of it happening again increased.
Increases, yeah.
Then every time you do it, then the recovery time increases as well. So what would have been like a grade 1 tear, which you could be back in 3-4 weeks. For me now, a grade 1 tear is, you're talking 9, 10, 11 weeks, because it takes so much longer to heal. We had some good times with a decent Irish Cup run, and I went through a period, like one half of the season, where I basically played all the games, and me, Mike, and Spike Ferguson up front scored a bucket load between us. But apart from that, really, like half season run, I was basically just injured all the time. And I really, really started, I wasn't going to football. I was going to the football training ground and having crack with the boys before. And then I was going out and running at the side of the pitch by myself for 45 minutes.
Isolated.
And that was it for 2 years, 3 years. And I just thought, what am I actually getting out of this? Isn't money. Not that I cared about that, as I kind of mentioned before. I'm lucky to have a good job. I never needed to rely on it. Okay, I'm getting some social out of it. But it's a lot of time again out of the house, away from my family and my kids, to do what? You know what I mean? I'm not playing, I'm not doing anything. But the thing that kept pulling me back in is when I did get fit again and I played, or I was good.
Yeah.
And it was like, it seems like you feel good when you come off a pitch of Saturday and I've played really well and
scored
and that at that level I could do it like that. If I was still at Premiership, I couldn't have got away with coming back and just slotting right in. But the Championship, I could, and I came back and I played well. So I was like, it's kind of got a wee bit for me. But I really started just getting kind of disillusioned with it, and there'd been a bit of, I didn't exactly see kind of eye to eye with Paul Key. Nothing in a bad way, and actually he's probably the best coach I've ever worked with. I think a lot of people that have worked with him have said that. But maybe at some stage I need to start looking at myself, because again, maybe he didn't try to see my personality. But like his very first time at the club, when he walked in, we had a big smart board in the Welders. And I said, Gaffer, he literally never met me. I says, watch this, and I had Jonny Frazer goals and assists up. I made him sit through 2.5 minutes of it with all the boys. So maybe now I'm when I actually probably be self-reflective, maybe I do need to start looking at myself.
I think I would love something like that. I think if I was a manager and I went in and I had somebody with a good personality, and I'd be like, do you know what, that's good crack, fair dues.
Yeah, I know.
Get ready, go out and run, and then it wouldn't be something that I would take to be like, he's a big-headed.
Yeah, it's actually the opposite of that.
Trying to be funny and trying to lighten the mood, and I'd be like, fair dues.
But things happened that we used to always do it. No, just just mess about a pre-season or in before training and put the ball up, and then we'd just been like, Johnny, how's your touch? And ball would have dropped down and try to bring it down. Now, you've played with me. I've probably the worst first touch of anybody you've ever played with, right? So for me to make somebody with a bad touch, it's ironic.
Yeah.
Right? That's the joke, is irony. And I did it, and I can't even remember the guy's name, but there was a younger player, and I went, how's your touch? And he took us to bounce off his shin, and everybody's laughing. But we did this every week, right? Every week before training. And I got pulled about it, being like, you need to stop bullying the younger players and making an example out of them in front of everyone. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, you upped up and said, how's your touch? I was like, Paul would do that every single week. It's not a me thing. And then, do you know we Oisin Bar as well?
Yeah.
So me and Oisin, we played the same position, and we had this running joke with whoever played, we'd have been like, "You washed my boots yet?" Right? Like me and O'Shane were friends. It was our like running joke, and somebody overheard me saying that to O'Shane, and again I got pulled. I'm not joking. I got pulled. Like, who the do you think you are? I was like, right, what? By this stage, it was like I knew something had been misconstrued. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're asking younger players to wash your boots. I was like, oh my God. I was like, Paul, do you seriously think that I am asking younger players to wash their boots? And I was like, we're training. I was like, O'Shane, come here. And I brought O'Shane over. I was like, O'Shane, what's our private joke we always go? We always ask her to wash all our boots. I was like, Paul, come on. Like,
I know, grow up.
What do you
What do you expect me to actually
So,
and when they attach that word bullying to it, you know,
I know.
you're sitting going like,
but there's, again, it's just personality clashes, and that's just, that happens. So, like, when it was, I was coming back from a pretty bad, again, hamstring tear, and I could have come back and played around February, March time, but Welders were out of promotion, and they'd said to me, just don't come back, just keep doing rehab and get yourself ready for next season, we'll need you for next season. And then I got to the summer, and Callum Barrs left, Big Boobs left, Michael McCollum left. And you remember the reason that I went to the Welders was
the people
and my friends, and do you enjoy like football? Like, I could have, if I wanted to just play for the best team possible, I could have, maybe not at that stage then, but like at the time I could have went and played for Portadown or something like that. So now I'm looking around the change room, like, actually, hold on. Not that they were already bad in it, but like it went from being like my actual close personal friends to just being like teammates again. And I just thought, I don't really want to be here. So I went and signed for Dundela, because Big Mike went there. So it's like, right, well, let's go sign with Big Mike.
Yeah.
Now I don't know all. I think someone at the Welders had told somebody at the Duns that I had refused to play for the Welders in the last season, which wasn't true. Like, I'd been told not to play. And that's why I bring that up, because it's actually, again, you think about moments. At the time, I was raging about that, saying, that's not true. I didn't say this, but if I ring Johnny Collins and ask him. But what that basically meant was that Dundela said they wouldn't pay me if I was injured, which was different to what I originally agreed with them.
Right.
So then when I got injured, they stopped paying me. I was like, what the hell? And they're like, yeah, because you refused to pay for Welders. I was like, no, I didn't. And there was this whole big thing. But soon I stopped getting paid then. It was almost like this weight lifted off my shoulder of then going, hold on, I don't actually have to go to football.
Yeah.
Should I just retire? And it only lasted maybe like 3 or 4 months at Dundela. I had actually a pretty good pre-season. I tore my hammy in the last game of pre-season against Carrick. But I'd had that good a pre-season. I thought, I'm going to give this one last go. And I came back and I played in a reserve team game at some playing fields somewhere. Like, it was literally like a playing field. It was like 9 pitches. No, you played when you were a kid. And we were playing against a team in 3F for Dundela reserves, and we were winning 17-0 at half time. The second half started, and I kicked the ball and tore my hammy. And I just went, I'm retired. And as I was walking off the pitch, I stood in dog shit. So, the end of my career, like, talking about going out at the top, like, I went out at some playing fields, walking dog shit on the way off, beating the team 17-0. And I was going, I text Gurley saying, I'm retired.
Yeah.
And that was just it, done.
See, whenever you, not stepping dog shit, obviously, but see, whenever it comes to this stage and the continuous hamstring injuries,
yeah,
and you look back now, mentally you must have been exhausted, because it just seems that you have the worst hamstrings ever.
Do you know, I think the first few times that I see any young player, any player that I've ever that have had their hamstring injury for the first time, I'm going and I tell them, see, when you feel okay, take an extra 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I said, please, just trust me. Because I kept, like, I look back, my first one for Ards, didn't do any rehab. I was like, just got physios, give me a rub, let it heal. Which, like, now all that I know, that was the complete wrong thing to do. But if I had done it all properly and then I came back straight away and tore it in the next game, it's like that, or those things, if I had stopped doing them at the early times. But, like, I was just born with, I think, shitty hamstrings.
Genetics.
And, you know, I was rapid. And it was weird. I never actually felt, even every time after I came back,
You're still quick, yeah.
I was still felt quick. Only the last couple of times, I wasn't. And then if I'm not quick, I should be blaming for EF. Yeah. So,
Do you think that's mindset too, though? Like, as in, like, I don't want to fully go at this here in case it
yes,
pops again.
yeah. That definitely was. It was always in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I tell you, see when it happened, or see when like the multiple times it happened, it's like you go into like this stage of disbelief, like, oh my God, I've just spent 14 weeks training and doing gym work, and now I've just tore it.
Do it again.
I have to do all of that again. Mm-hmm. And it was so, that's why like football's given me so much. It's given me, friends and memories, especially in the early part of the career. But those last 3 years, it really took it out of me. Like, I was going home like so dejected and going like I cannot believe that has happened again. And then I just kept coming back because I was like, surely it can't happen again. Surely it can't happen again. And then the worst was, meeting people before the match. Say you're playing, I don't know, another team, and you see the other boys in the team, and you're whatever. They're like, oh, you out with Hammy again? Or, oh, Fraser's Hammy's away again. Like, it became a thing. And known for it. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that's actually,
From me.
What terrible. Cut that out. What I'm known for. But it was tough mentally. And like I consider myself pretty mentally strong, and I was able to get through the rehab. It was just so boring, just doing the same stuff every time.
Yeah.
And like I was sick of it at the end. See, I would do it if like it was just the fact it was kept being the same thing. I'd far rather have done my hammy 4 times, my ACL once, broke my ankle. Like, I'd far rather have had a whole... I think I could have handled that.
Yeah.
But it was just like the same thing over and over and over again. And I just... Yeah.
You just reached that point then?
I'm just done. I could not have went through another rehab.
Yeah.
Like my last hamstring injury, I didn't even rehab it. I just left it.
That's where it's like, I'm not even going to try.
I'm not even going to try. Because I know if I had went and started rehabbing, that would have been like, oh no, he'll come back and play. So I just left it. And like football, I retired young, 28. And I always see myself, again, I've talked about Wardy a few times in this podcast, I always see myself being like Wardy. I just love football so much, so I'd love to have
continued on.
But I wasn't even sad stopping. I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Now, I do miss I really, really miss the changing room aspect of it, especially because my job's now changed, or in my new job, I'm now working from home all the time. So I used to be office 5 days a week, then going to football, so much social, to then being in my office in the house.
Secluded there enough.
Then no football at night, and it's like, then she comes home and I'm like, and she's like, can you please shut up for a second?
Leave me alone.
Yeah. So I do miss the social aspect of it, which is why it's good doing some of the presenting stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's obviously the next step. So getting into that, doing the media work, we've obviously done bits and pieces together, which has been fantastic because it's done the same for me, probably what's done for you. I've been out for such a long period of time. It gives you that sort of buzz to be like, I'm around football. I'm not fully around it, but I'm there. I'm able to watch games. You're able to have an input and a say on it, and you're able to get chatting to everybody again.
Yeah.
It's so uplifting.
Well, and we're both probably in similar boats. It's where the fact that I play for so many teams comes an advantage.
You know everyone, right? Yeah.
Because then you can relate. When I was at Carrick, actually, this is this, or when I was at Warren Point in this. And I've played with so many people because I've played in so many different change rooms. So then it helps with knowing them and having a better relationship and things like that. It just kind of came about. David Carey runs all the kind of the NIFL stuff. He ran at the Glens, and I always enjoyed doing the kind of the interview stuff. Like, and actually took us quite a bit of sick for it in some change rooms for doing more interviews and appearances and things like that. But I always did enjoy doing it. And David just said if you'd be interested in doing something like that, and I'll do it. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's just by kind of trying to stay involved, staying around, and get to go watch football and stuff like that. So, like, I don't really have any. It's never going to be a full time.
No, it's a good top up.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's more I enjoy doing it.
Yes,
kind of.
And the exact same. Like, I genuinely buzz off going to games, meeting up with the lads, having the conversations with everybody. being on TV or commentary and talking football. Like, I love talking football. But when it's not there for a long period of time, you become a couch potato.
Yeah, I know.
It's so chunky.
I've struggled doing anything fitness wise.
Yeah.
Like I can't just go to the gym. Like at this, my brain just doesn't work like that. It just bores life out of me.
Yeah.
But then
you need a group.
I need a group. I need to do something. And but you're right. Like I think both for social aspect from stopping playing. Like we've went from training 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week since we were 10 years old to just doing nothing. And the first year I loved it, and then only really recently
I'm assuming
has been struggling. But like the NFL stuff and the media stuff, it's good. I mean, let's see what happens. Like especially the league's going. You know, there may be something more regular that we even will do together on Linfield TV and things like that. But I think for now it's been a real nice kind of bridge between me stopping and kind of going on to kind of see what's next, because, like you said, it kind of keeps you involved. And
it does. And just keeps you having those conversations with those good people that you don't see.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Like we were talking before last week when we were doing the Carrick and Dungannon game, and me and you and Shirley King and Mick O'Connor, we just sat and had chats and laughs and told stories for 15 minutes, and it just gives you a buzz. And actually I drove home thinking I do miss football. That's what I drove home.
That's why I love it. And I'm like torturing David and Shem, like, please sign like a multi-series deal here to get us all back in.
So David Kerr, David Jeffrey, you want a multi-year?
No, don't want David in. David would take over me, so I want David out. David can stay at Portadown. David Kerr is the man. We need his signature on those papers. But it's been so much fun. But that's not the only thing you do with David. You're a golf enthusiast who, after having multiple conversations with different people, you actually seem to be really good at this.
At golf? Or at the talking part?
No, at golf. You're good talking to. We've known that. But you're very good at golf. You're not only doing that, but you're publicising golf in Northern Ireland in like quite a fun and enthusiastic Jonny Frazer way. So how did that come around?
Yeah, so I'm not a good golfer. So I don't know, he must be talking to some pretty terrible golfers.
Maybe it's just David Land.
I think but like, yeah, I love golf, and that was one of the things when I stopped playing. It's like, right, I'm gonna try and play a bit more golf, and love watching the golf YouTube. So there's loads of really big kind of golf YouTubers out there, but there's none from, no big ones from kind of Ireland or Northern Ireland, which is, I always think at the time, like, that's a bit of a gap. Like, we've got some of the best courses in the world here.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year when the Open was here, all the YouTubers came over to Northern Ireland and they played a lot of the courses here. And I just remember it was just going through and reading the comments and being like, all these people that watch these videos love these courses. Like, oh, this is an amazing course. Like, some of their videos when they were over here, done the best videos that they've done. Mm-hmm. I just thought there's such an opportunity here for someone to kind of showcase, Northern Ireland golf. You go and apart from maybe like the top 10 clubs, if you're going to look up like a club that you're playing on YouTube and other social media, the clubs here, they don't really, it's all old school.
Yeah, it's just like, join the membership and play.
Yeah, it's all old school stuff. So David, who I do it with, he obviously does all of the media stuff. I kind of spoke to him about it, and we'd done a bit of research, and there's 30,000 Americans come to Northern Ireland every year to play golf alone on trips. So what's the first thing you do when you're going to a golf?
Yeah, you
search on YouTube and you see, what's going to play
like and what it looks like. Yeah.
So we kind of come up with this idea of starting this YouTube's like channel, which is really about showcasing, the golf clubs. Now, yes, it might progress on to more kind of traditional. Here's a match. Here's me against, Tom McKibben.
That's the expanded experience.
That's expanded once you've kind of grown our following. But so we've just kind of been going around, club to club, at the minute, and I must admit, David and the kind of small team we have working for us that shoot the content and do the drones is all the content that it's such high quality. And I'm getting out and be able to play, some of the best courses in Northern Ireland, and like we'll see where we've got actually pretty few interests and kind of sponsorship things that might be happening down the road. But I really think there's an opportunity for it. The time part is a struggle,
mm-hmm.
busy job and kids, but no football now. So
Time to jump maybe into something.
It's just I need to be doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and if I wasn't doing something else, I'd throw myself into work, and then I'd get completely burnt out. So it's good to kind of have something outside of that as well. So, yeah, it's exciting. Like it kicked off more than, it grew quite quickly, quicker than we thought it would. And some of the companies that have reached out, it's pretty exciting. So we're gonna give it a good crack this summer and playing some real top courses in
So
Northern
NI Golf Club,
NI Golf Club.
YouTube.
Yep.
Get on it.
Yep.
I've watched
socials.
I've watched a few episodes. I actually enjoy it. I enjoy golf now over the last sort of 2-3 years, more so like when you're kind of sitting and it's on Sky and you watch it and you kind of get into it more. And probably the whole following with Rory and Shane, you're kind of like, I love that sort of shit. So
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. And
it's really good.
There's honestly, like, Northern Ireland and Ireland, it is one of the best destinations in the world for golf.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just all we're trying to do, is just showcase that, and maybe we can grow it into something for ourselves personally too. But like, even I'm getting out and playing some of the best courses in Northern Ireland, like that's great.
That's
Even
the bonus, yeah.
if nothing else comes with it, then that's great.
Yeah.
And just all the community, like we played Scrabble yesterday, then sat out in the sun, had a pint with their lady vice captain, their captain, like some guy been a member there for 40 years, and just meeting all the people. That's the story we're really trying to tell with it. It's like
it's a community.
Communities around the clubs and why they're special and things like that. So yeah, it's something to keep me busy after the football. But I don't think anything will ever replace that competitiveness.
Yeah.
Which I think we'll probably carry for the rest of our lives. And not be able to fill that gap. But it was a good run.
Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I hope NI Golf Club hits the stars, because it's good to watch. I enjoy it. I enjoy good people doing good things, especially in this media realm that we're trying to.
No, I know what we're trying to do. We're trying to do something.
So, listen, good luck with it. We finish on hugs. Been waiting for this for a long time. So,
What's on Ecom? What's your band down here? Thanks for having me on. Make sure you get them
socks out of here, because
Yeah.
I'm doubling up today. So we've got somebody in straight after, which will be next week's episode. So I'm going to jump away. I've got another shirt, and we're going to wear the same stuff. I'm not getting changed. So I'll be back with a new guest. See you soon.